sense that they nearly talk back to you and plow-moss you and practice on it. And they let them. You can talk to them. People used to call the weasel the Dane's cat. I said one, you know, who gets to Ireland as their dog. Now, just 6 or 7 of them thereabouts. But they were coming on. I knew this woman all my life. You know about pishogues, don't you? And pishogues, they are dirty business. They'd be the equivalent of voodoo in other places. And pishogues, lots of people today think they're gone away. But of course, pishogues are not gone away. And for the simple reason that human nature doesn't change. As a friar in Innis Friary told me, when I took him in a sample of these pishogues, and he blessed them to take the dirtiness, badness out of them, because somebody was having terrible trouble with these. And a person whose mind was being, you know, affected by them. The friar in question said, look, he says, if you think these things are gone away, you'll be making a big mistake. And he said, human nature doesn't change. There'll always be good people in the world and bad-minded people in the world, and the percentage will always be more or less the same. Now, a particular story that I know, because I knew the people in question, and I'm from Kerry. This woman, she was a great friend of my mother's, all her life. My mother is dead now, and so is this woman, but my mother is dead quite a long time. But this woman is only dead a few years. She was a great age when she died, a lovely woman. And I wouldn't tell a lie about her, because I liked the woman, and she was a great friend of our family when my mother died very young. And the old woman that I'm talking about, Hannah was her name, she said to me that she remembered well when she was young and her mother was still alive. They were farming people. Across the field there were neighbours. And the woman across the field, their neighbours, also farmers. The woman in question there, she was a strange woman. There was something about her that, touch like Biddy Early, she'd know your business. She'd know what you'd be doing, even inside in your own house. Now, it wasn't as if she was peeping in the windows or anything. No, not that, not that. She'd know your business. She would. You could be gone to a cattle fair. She wouldn't have been there at all. But she would know the price you'd have got for your cattle, and she could tell it to you on the way home. That kind of thing. You know, she had knowledge, wherever she was getting it. And people, all the neighbours were afraid of her. Now, they kept out from her. They had to salute her on the road, you know, but if they met her on the road, you know, she was a neighbour after all, they'd sort of go to the other side and salute her and keep going. The less you'd have to do with her, the better. Now, her husband was a lovely man. She had 3 daughters. They were lovely girls. The only bother with them is they weren't going to be able to get married locally because of their mother. There'd always be the suspicion on these girls, were they going to pick up these habits that the mother had. Anyway, time passed by, and the old woman along the way, across the way, she came to this Hannah's mother and she said, look, I'm not going to live much longer. She even seemed to know her own death was coming. And she said, all my stuff is there, the habit and all, will you lay me out? And Hannah's mother thought, this is very odd. Hadn't she her own daughters to do it? Why pick on me to do it? But just for a quiet life, Hannah's mother said, I will, all right, I'll do it, even though the daughters were there to do it. And I mean, they weren't young now at this stage, you know, they were well grown up. They were young women. So she said, all right, I'll do it, just to half get rid of her. But this particular morning, a while afterwards, a number of months afterwards, there was this hubbub just after breakfast time, and the 3 daughters came running across the field to Hannah's mother's house, and in an awful state entirely. Come over, quick. And Hannah's mother said, why? "Oh, our mother is dead, our mother is dead." And Hannah's mother said, well, you know what to do. Lay her out, tidy up the house for the wake and the visitors and all that. No, come over, quick. And they were in such a panic. Just for a quiet life, Hannah's mother didn't think of the promise that she had given to the old woman. Just for a quiet life and to calm down the daughters, over she went. Now, Hannah told me I was with her. I was with her that morning, and we went over across the field with the 3 daughters. Over we went and into the yard, and the 3 daughters there, they stopped in the yard of their own house. They wouldn't go into their own kitchen, only pointing in. Now, Hannah and her mother, they were there wondering, what in God's name is this? What's going on? So Hannah's mother, anyway, she went in. And Hannah said, I was there with her. I was there by her shoulder. There was nothing in the kitchen. Kitchen was empty. So Hannah's mother looked back at the daughters, and they pointed. They were still outside. They wouldn't come in. They were pointed towards the bedroom. So Hannah's mother, up she went to the bedroom door. Now Hannah said, I was right behind her, and looked into the bedroom, and there was the old woman in the bed. And Hannah said, I just caught a glimpse. She was covered with vermin, black things like beetles, crawling with them. And within about 2 seconds of we being there, gone. And of course we fell back. Holy God Almighty, what were they? And she said, we could never, ever figure out what they were, because she said this was a clean house. They always kept a clean house. And where did they go? And she said, I could understand, she said, if the old woman had died down the fields and had been dead 2 or 3 days, that she might be covered with vermin. Yes, fair enough. But she died in her own bed. She was only dead overnight. What were these things? And of course, the more she thought about it, the more she began to realize that, hold on a minute, this was the woman who had the power all her life of knowing things that she couldn't know. Where was she getting that power? Was it the lads, the fairies, call them what you will? Was it they who were giving her that? Because as any of the old people will tell you, that you get nothing for nothing. And at the end, they collect